Imagine you're 65 years old. You lived the whole financial journey. You made the choices. You dealt with all the consequences, and you got to see how it all played out. And somebody sits you down and they ask, what do you wish you have done differently? Do you think that you would talk about a bad stock pick, choosing the wrong mutual fund, timing the market wrong? Here's what the research actually shows. The biggest financial regrets in America, they almost have nothing to do with investment returns. They're almost never about something that you wish you had bought. Almost never about things that you couldn't afford. They tend to be choices and about time. My name is Rip. Welcome back to Rip. That's me. I talk money. Today, we're walking through the 8 biggest financial regrets that people carry into the 60s. And if you're watching this in your 30s or 40s, this is your chance to sidestep them before they ever show up. So let's get into them and make sure you hit that like button. The more likes we get, the more YouTube will help push out this channel. It's brand new. We're only 6 episodes in, so I need all of your help. So let's start with one that shows up on almost every single survey. And it comes from Bankrate. All the way to Northwestern Mutual without any hesitation. The number one financial regret in America is I wish I have started saving and investing sooner. Think about that. Think about that, what they're saying here. They're not saying, I wished I picked Tesla. They're not saying, I wish I bought Amazon back in 2005. They're saying, I wish I had time. And I had time had been working for me instead of against me. Now, here's what the real numbers look like. 2 people, okay? Both of these people, they invest $500 a month. Alfred, that's who we're going to use. He started at 25 and he invests for just 10 years and then he just stops completely. And then we got my boy Benjamin on the other side. He started at 35 and he invested every single month for 30 straight years, never missed a month. At a historic 10% average return, well, Alfred, who only invested for 10 years, he ends up with about 1.8 million at age 65. Benjamin, who invested 3 times longer and put in 3 times as much money, he ended up with 1.1 million. Benjamin never caught up simply because Alfred had more time. Think about that. Now, right behind that regret is lifestyle inflation. This one's sneaky because every upgrade feels completely justified in the moment. You get a nicer car, it feels great for about 3 months. Then it's just a car that you're used to driving every single day. The happiness, it just fades away. But you know what? That payment doesn't. The average new car today in America, it sells for about $50,000. And people are financing that over 72 months, 6 years for something that is losing value the entire time. Now, here's the line I want you to remember. Most financial regrets aren't about things that people couldn't afford. They're about what people choose instead. Every dollar that went to upgrading your lifestyle, that's a dollar that didn't compound. And now look, I'm not telling you not to have fun out there, but instead of getting that new car, you get a used car, last year's model with no mileage on it. You're saving probably like 15K just because it's been driven one time. Buying too much house, this is probably the biggest one. This one gets its own segment because, look, for most people, a home, that's going to be the single largest financial decision that you're ever going to make. It deserves respect, and we're going to put some respect onto it. Now, the trap is what we tend to think about a house in terms of your monthly mortgage payment. We don't think about everything else. Maintenance alone. And this is a rule of thumb that real estate professionals use. Typically runs about anywhere between 1 to 4% of the home's value every single year. On a $900,000 home, 2%, that's 18K. Over 20 years, that's 360,000. And that's before property taxes, insurance, HOA fees if there are any, or any renovations that you didn't plan for. Now, here's a number for you to put into perspective. Americans who are aged between the ages of 65 to 74, they have a median net worth about $410,000. Roughly 250,000 of that, it is in home equity. In many cases, retirees, they have more of their net worth sitting in a house, an illiquid asset that doesn't pay the bills, than in all of their retirement accounts combined. Now, the dream home, it can delay the dream in life. That's not a warning against owning a home. It's a warning about letting the house become the whole financial plan. Now, regret number 4 and 5, too conservative, plus working too long. Here's a little twist for you because we got to shake things up around here. When researchers look at retirees at scale, one of the most common regrets, it runs in a direction that most people don't expect. I wish I had taken more risk. Now, this shows up as people are holding just way too much cash. People feel comfortable looking at a bank account and seeing that high number when it should have been invested, right? Sitting on the sidelines saying that the market is too high right now, I'll wait, and then it never came back down. Or you have people who sold during the 2008 crash or your 2020 crash, and they never brought back in. Let me show you the math. $100,000 in cash over 30 years at a 2% rate here. It grows to roughly $181,000. $100,000 in a diversified stock portfolio at a 10% rate of return, it grows approximately $1.74 million. Now, the difference between those two numbers isn't one person being safe and one being risky. Both people took on risk. One took on the stock market risk. The other took the risk of not having enough money to fund their retirement. Now, sometimes the safest feeling choice is actually, well, that's the most dangerous one. Now, paired right next to this is working too long for money that they didn't actually need. JP Morgan, Fidelity, two major retirement research companies, they constantly show that retirees, they underspend relative to what financial planners project. Spending actually declines throughout retirement. It doesn't increase, which means that a lot of people, they spend extra years working to fund a spending level that they never actually reach. It's called one more year syndrome. Look it up. It's a real thing. You run the numbers, there's still a gap. So you keep going. Then you run them again. The portfolio keeps growing and the years keep passing. Look, years you can't get back, folks. Some people spend their entire careers preparing for a retirement that they were already financially ready for years earlier. That's not a caution. You know what that is? That's a cost. Regret number 6 and 7, wrong job plus helping the kids. Now, let me give you the human version of that last regret here. Working too long is the financial version. Staying in a job you don't like, that's a personal vision. Now, Gallup has tracked employee engagement for decades, and the numbers are striking. Listen to this. In any given year, a majority of American workers, I should say, right? They describe themselves as either not engaged or actively disengaged at work. Not a majority of unhappy people, the majority of actual workers. And people stay because of the golden handcuffs. The pension 3 years from vesting, the benefits they can't afford to lose, the salary that's good enough to make them comfortable, but not good enough to make the job worth it. Here's a number that puts those years into perspective. If you work from 25 to 65, that's 40 years. At 40 hours a week with 2 weeks vacation, that's roughly 80,000 working hours of your life. 80,000 hours. That's not a rounding error. That is your life. The regret people carry isn't, I wish I picked a different stock. No, it's I spent too long somewhere where I didn't feel valued. Now let's talk about regret number 7, helping children too little or even too late. The question that sits underneath this one, it's quite simple. Is money more valuable to your child at 35 when they're trying to buy a home, raise kids, and get their footing, or at 65 when their life is already largely built? First-time homebuyer ages are at historic highs. Childcare in many markets, it runs $2,000 to $3,000 per month. Student debt is real. The years between 30 and 45 are often when people could use help the most. But those are also the years when people don't think to give it. This is a regret that shows up with striking frequency here in retirement interviews. The parent who had that means to help earlier and they didn't do it. Which moves us over. Regret number 8. That's right. Divorce. The real pattern. The last one. And I'm going to end it after this. Well, we got one more, but this is going to be the final point I want to make here. This is going to make the whole pattern clear. Now, divorce. It's constantly among the most financially devastating events a person can experience. One household becomes 2. Legal fees accumulate. Assets, they get divided. Retirement contributions, they slow or they just completely stop. Now, for many people, it is the single most expensive financial event of their lives. But here's the thing I think is more important than divorce itself. It's the financial decisions and the misalignments that build pressure on a relationship over time. Money fights, constantly ranked among the top causes of relationship stress. Financial anxiety, misaligned spending values, debt that never gets fully addressed. It bleeds into everything else. It accumulates slowly and then all at once. Look, I'm not saying stay in a bad marriage. I'm saying get aligned on your money habits and values early, because your values are embedded in practically every financial decision that you make. Now, I want you to look at all 8 of these together here, and something becomes obvious. None of these is I'd wish I'd pick a better stock. None of them is I wish I'd gotten 8% back instead of just getting 7% back. Starting late, that is the cost someone lost compounding. Lifestyle inflation, lost flexibility, too much house, lost freedom, too conservative, lost growth, working too long, lost years, your wrong job is lost fulfillment, and helping kids too late, lost impact you never got to see, and divorce is lost wealth and time. Look at the right column here. Only 1 or 2 of these are actually about real money. The rest are about time, freedom, fulfillment, and impact. Money is a tool. It has always been just a tool. The regrets aren't about the tool. They're about what people wish they had done with it. If you're in your 30s or 40s right now, that list is a gift because you still have time to make different choices. If this resonated, give it a like. It helps this channel reach new people, folks. And look, before I let you go, I'm not a financial advisor. Everything on this channel, it's for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please talk to a licensed professional for advice specific to your situation. New video coming Thursday. Subscribe so you don't miss it and hit that notification bell. I'm Rip, and I'll see you on the next one.